Finally, some good news. You can only connect the dots looking backward, and I've been noticing an upward trend of some positivity happening, specifically with inventory. And I haven't really talked or commented on it a lot because I wanted to see maybe a few dots, right? Maybe a few weeks or maybe a month or two of data before I went on a YouTube video and said, I think this is happening. So that being said, not only in my local market, but in speaking with other people in different parts of the country, I'm starting to notice a upward trend of inventory, and I believe this is going to cause a positive impact in the housing market. Now, is it going to cause a housing crash? I think I would be a pretty terrible YouTuber if I just give you the answer now. I'll just give it to you now. I don't care. No, it's not. I think it's going to slowly adjust things back into what I consider a normal market, but what you consider a normal market might not be the same market I'm thinking about. So here's what I'm thinking, right? Let's just get to the freaking enchilada. I don't think that's a term, but I'm hungry right now and I can go for an enchilada. There's two primary things happening right now that I think are affecting things, okay? Our first effect is gonna be the buyer effect, right? So for the last 6 months and 9 months, it slowly has become universally accepted that buyers are having an extremely hard time buying a home. At first, it was just the folks that were ready to take the dive in. It's interesting because like maybe October or November, I would have people just, hey, I'm ready to buy a house. And I would have to sit down with them and be like, this is how the housing market is. And they're just like,
what? Are you trying to freaking rip me off? How much do I have to, how much?
So it took about 6 to 9 months for it to be common knowledge that this market is brutal for home buyers. And because of that, now it's become universally accepted. We're seeing something happen. We're seeing not only our buyers that are actually taking the plunge into home ownership, they actually have not only down payment and closing costs, but they have extra cash because they've seen their friends or their siblings buy a few months ago, or they're maybe been watching the videos, or maybe they're starting to just listen to people around them, tell them this is what you need, that they have the money ready to go. But what we're also seeing is people are getting knocked out of the race before they even start the race. More and more as the months are going by, I'm starting to hear from people saying, yeah, we were thinking about buying a house, we're ready, but then we decided to wait. We're seeing more of that happen, whereas before, people actually took the plunge, got knocked around a bit, then backed out. People are now deciding, you know what, we're just gonna wait to see what happens. So what this is doing is it's causing two things. It's causing our home buyers that are actually in the market to be somewhat competitive, and it's causing this buyer pool effect of people who are in the sidelines ready to attack. I cannot say ready, ready. So I think this is the first key factor of what's starting to cause this maybe increase of inventory, right? There is, instead of having a 20 or 30 offer situation, it might be only 5, it might be only 10. Recently, this past month, I was able to help 6 families purchase houses. And yes, they had to be competitive, but some of them were kind of shocked to say, hey, we actually got one. Because when they were looking a month ago, 2 months ago, they were still that insanity. But they realized, hey, one actually landed our way. Now, the second thing that's really affecting things, what I consider the swap of the FOMO, right? Instead of buyers, for those that don't know, FOMO is fear of missing out. For the past year, what's created this insane demand is the interest rates dropping at a drastic rate and buyers seeing this FOMO, right? Realtors and lenders calling people saying, hey, this interest rate's never gonna be this cheap again. People saying, I need to take advantage of this. Yada, yada, yada. They're moving out of state, whatever. There's a lot of factors here, but buyers have had the FOMO, this fear of missing out, and it's created them to want to buy a house even before they were ready to buy a house. And this crazy demand has led us to where we are now. But what I think is going to start happening pretty soon is there's a swap of FOMO. Buyers had this fear of missing out, and sellers were hesitant. They didn't know what was in store. They didn't know if the market was going to adjust. They wanted to make sure they at least had a place to call home if the market crashed again. Now it's swapped. The buyers are concerned. The buyers are hesitant. They don't want to take the plunge because they've seen the amount of freaking cash it takes to get your offer accepted. And the sellers are starting to get FOMO. Remember what I've always told you guys, the market works in 3 to 6 month intervals. If there's something new that hits the market now, you will not feel that effect until 3 to 6 months later. It is now June, July, and I want to say that even in 2020, it was still kind of like, we're still in the pandemic. It was still kind of crazy. There's going to be a second wave, or we're in the second wave already. 2021 hits. Vaccine rolls out and people are starting to feel more comfortable, which was March, April, around there. Well, 3 to 4 months later, we're starting to see a lot more people come around to the idea of selling their home. They're noticing people in their neighborhood, hey, Bob and Janet, decided to sell their house and they got a freaking cash buyer that gave them $70,000 more on top of the price. Why was it a cash buyer, you're wondering? Well, check out this latest video where I talk about that. But anyways, if they got $80,000 more and now they're moving to the Bahamas, I want to take advantage of that. We can make so much more in this house than we could have. Oh, we got to get this house listed. So now more than ever, me personally, I'm starting to get calls from people that have been thinking about selling that are now pulling the trigger. So once again, the FOMO effect is being swapped. Instead of buyers having FOMO and sellers being hesitant, sellers are starting to have that fear of missing out on this huge demand or equity, and buyers are being more hesitant. So what I think this is doing is causing the perfect, I don't want to say perfect storm because that implies there's something terrible that's going to happen, more as a steady squeeze where you guys are slowly over the next 2 to 3 months are going to start noticing that the inventory is going to stick around a little longer. Here in Arizona, I think last I checked, we were close to 6,000 listings, which haven't seen in a while. I'm used to seeing 4,000 to 5,000. Yes, the close, I think there's like over 10,000 sales happening in the last 30 days. So yeah, it's not perfect, but it's looking better. What does this mean? Does this mean if you're on the sidelines, it's your time to strike, that the market's going to crash? Well, no. I think it's going to be a steady change into what's normal. So what you might consider normal is a market that there's like, you go out to look and there's 10 houses available and you have your choice to pick which one, and you can get the seller to pay your closing costs. And no, that's not normal. If you guys remember, for those that bought in 2019, maybe even a little bit 2018, the market was competitive. It was not crazy. It wasn't insane. But if you found a house, you're looking for $350, right? You found a house that was in really great shape. There was a multiple offer situation, and you had to pay your own closing costs and pay near list price or maybe offer more, right? But if you happen to see a house that was in okay condition, maybe a 6 or 7 out of 10, well, then maybe that one only had 1 or 2 offers, and you could maybe get that one at list price or maybe even get a little closing cost. So it was still competitive, yes, but it wasn't insane where people were offering $40,000, $50,000 waiving their appraisal. So when I say we're going back to normal, is we're going back to that normal, yes, still a seller's market, but a more normal seller's market where sellers have leverage, but they don't have leverage over your soul. Which is why I don't think prices are going to just start crashing. And I've talked about this in previous videos where I talk about how to protect yourself from the housing bubble. Remember that effect I talked about at the beginning, all those people in the sideline effect, if you will, right? There is so many people like you maybe watching this video, waiting in the sidelines to attack, that when this market does return to a normal seller's market, it's going to create a competitive scenario. Now, why is it not going to turn back into this crazy cash situation where people are offering 50, 80,000? Well, because a lot of people in the sidelines aren't going to be out-of-state people who are used to seeing houses at $1 million, moving to an area that, oh my God, these houses are $300,000 off or $390 for this B right now. You know, they're going to be locals. They're going to be like, yeah, we're competitive, but we're not going to go crazy. We're not going to offer $40,000 or $50,000. So I think there's some good news here. Now, here's something that could happen. I've been doing a lot of research about these people, LLCs and companies that are buying cash properties in primarily first-time home buyer areas. I think we need to be careful for those. So you guys need to keep an eye on those cash sales. But more importantly right now is I think you guys, the people that have been preparing for the past 3 months, I think you guys have done a good job. Keep preparing. I don't care if you're not going to have to come up with $20,000, $30,000 cash with an appraisal gap. I want you to have that ready so that way you're in a good position, or maybe if you buy a house that needs fixing up, then you have the extra cash, or maybe you just have extra cash and you mail it to Javier. Now, of course, this is theoretical. Who knows what will happen next, but let's use this video as a kind of pulse to see what happens. So let me know if you're starting to notice things get a little better. I would love you guys to come return to that comment, give us updates. I'm currently seeing my home buyers surprised to see that houses are staying on the market, right? So you're going to see the super nice houses still sell quickly and still sell really rapidly. So yeah, you might notice that instead of having every single house for sell insanely fast and insanely high price, that effect might just start going only for the really nice houses. And the ones that need a little work might return back to that normal, hey, maybe we can only get it at list price. Maybe we can try to get this one cheaper. Slowly, very slowly, this isn't going to be overnight. But over the next 3 to 6 months, if everything remains the way it is, I'm going to start seeing that transition happening. So thanks for watching. I know this video is more theoretical, but I would appreciate if you guys give us an update on what's going on with your current search. Is it feeling calmer? Is it feeling more normal? Please come back, return, reply to your comment. Let us know if it continues to get better, if you got your offer accepted. I really want to know not only in what's happening in my area, but at a national level. I also just hit 100,000 subscribers. Once again, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. If you're looking for an agent referral, click the link below. And of course, come on to my live stream every Saturday afternoon. Love to hang out and chat with you guys. So appreciate you guys. See you later. Have a good one. Sorry, I didn't mean to kiss you.